Guild Wars 2 has hundreds upon hundreds of secrets, and honestly, I want to show each and every one of them, but today, let's go over what my personal favorite secrets across the entire game are. These are the secrets that I absolutely love in the game. They may be small or large, they may be hidden areas or are special mechanics. Some are pretty well known, and some are not. Let's get started. Coming in at number 10, I have the Metrica Province Secret Bunny Cave. This is a super fun location that is kind of just hidden in plain sight. Located pretty close to the starting area of the Asura, you can find a path that leads to a cave. Along the path are several warning markers that read "Warning, danger ahead, turn back now." As you come up to each one, you are given a lot of time to turn around and run away from the danger that lies ahead of you, but if you decide you want to risk your life, you can continue walking forwards and find this cave. And inside of it is an Asura named Snriff, and a bunch of her rabbits, which this itself is super fun, a secret cave that is off the beaten path that has an Asura with a bunch of rabbits. The entire place gets a little bit more fun when you decide to talk to this Asuran, where there are a ton of different dialogue options that you can go through that are fun to read. But to spoil this a little bit, the general gist of what is going on is that this Asura just really loves rabbits. She's not experimenting on them, she just likes having them around and wants to take care of them and feed them. Other Asura would think this is dumb, so she plays it off like she's experimenting on them. And she has all of the warning signs to try to prevent people from seeing what is going on in this cave, which actually is pretty sad but also a bit heartwarming. I appreciate that these rabbits are being taken care of, especially with what some Asura, like the Inquest, do to rabbits. In the number 9 spot, we have the Night Lights. This is a fun achievement that has you exploring a super cool part of the Desert Highlands. For people who have unlocked the Jackal Mount from the Path of Fire expansion and have also upgraded it, they can make their way through a bunch of sand portals and a floating path and eventually reach this temple area. Located here are some chests you can open, as well as a mastering site that you can commune with. This area is beautiful and also serves as a great spot to start griffin riding from and basically reach any other point in the map. But the super fun part about this location is how this area changes depending on what time of day it is, where we were just exploring it during the day, but if you decide to come here during night, you can find a beautiful image being shown in the sky near this temple. It's just a great view, and coming up here to look at them will give you an achievement. This is one of those locations which is just iconic, where a lot of people know about it, and a ton of people who discover the spot for the first time get so excited by seeing these lights that they will share it with other people. Coming in at number 8 are the bears attacking these beehives. This is a super fun secret located in Queensdale, the human starting zone. In the southwestern corner of the map, you have the township of Claypool, the beautiful Clayant Falls, and a bunch of other cool spots. But one of my favorites are these beehives right here, where there's actually an event where these different beehives will be attacked by hungry bears and you have to fend them off. Or if you fail, Gideon will fix up the beehives so this family can continue on with their jobs. This event is not super well known because it's a random event that is not connected to anything else in the game, only happens every now and then, and is in the middle of nowhere, so oftentimes people will only pass by this area while they are quickly heading to the nearby Bandit Champion. But this event is actually one of the first events I ever saw in Guild Wars 2, where before the game released in 2012, I watched the Yogg's cast playing through the game, and that is actually how I first learned about Guild Wars 2, where one of the things they were doing is wandering through this part of Queensdale and suddenly being beset by a bunch of hungry bears. In the number 7 spot, we have this ship off the coast from Amnoon, where straight off the bat, there's no reason to come to this ship except to explore, so the average player will have never been on it. And to take a quick moment, the ship is pretty cool. It's got a nice design, I like all the plants on it, the inside is very well decorated and looks like somewhere I would want to hang out. You got a lot of beds, carpets, pillows, and even a kitchen where you can go get some food. I imagine that this ship is some sort of luxury retreat for the citizens of Amnoon to go stay on the ocean for a day or two and relax. But this ship itself is not the secret that I want to talk about. I mean, it's kind of just sitting here. I'm sure everyone has seen it. But the secret part about this ship is all the stuff that is hidden in the top part, where you have 3 cats that have pinned a toucan in the corner and are swinging at it while the toucan is trying to evade them, and then you got a kid swinging back and forth from the roof of the ship. This may look completely random, but the swinging kid is actually a mark of a former ArenaNet employee who used to work on several maps of the game, including the Crystal Oasis. It is kind of like a signature or a "I worked on this," where you can actually find a bunch of swinging kids all around the world where the dev has worked on, and this is only one of them. As far as the cats and toucan go, I believe this developer loves cats and had a big part in the Catmander tag being introduced to the game, and maybe they hate toucans? I'm not sure about that one. In the number 6 spot, we have the Missing Dragon Stand Lane. This is cut content that is partially completed and can be found in the map of Dragon Stand, and this also requires you to break out of the map of Dragon Stand for you to find, where I actually did not showcase a spot in my map breakout video, But in Dragon's Stand, the main meta requires the entire map to split up into 3 different groups and march towards the Blighting Towers, where each lane then kills a commander within each Blighting Tower, and then the 3 lanes come together to fight the Mouth of Mordremoth. But did you know that there was going to be a 4th lane? If you look at the map of Dragon's Stand, it looks pretty funky, like a part of it was removed, and if you find your way over to this area of the world, you can see some early work on what they were doing in this part of the map, where instead of the map splitting up into 3 groups to march down 3 lanes and fight 3 Mordem commanders, there's going to be a 4th lane that people would have to help as well, where then all 4 lanes would meet up at the Mouth of Mordremoth to fight the final boss together. I assume this lane was removed to make the map a little bit simpler, as well as with how there was a development crunch at the end of Heart of Thorn's development, and some stuff got cut from the game. Some people speculate that this area might have involved the new Duchess of the Nightmare Court, and we would have learned a bit more about her, but of course, most of that storyline got cut out of the expansion as well. In the number 5 spot we have the Ebonhawke Chickens, and this is a super popular Easter egg. In the city of Ebonhawke, we have the last major stronghold of humanity in Ascalon, and every stronghold needs some farms. Where in the southwestern corner of the stronghold, you have the farm where you can find Wade Samuelson hanging out at. There are a bunch of different cows, pigs, and chickens, as well as a bunch of crops that the farmers are growing. But a very interesting difference between the chickens and the other animals is that the chickens are vulnerable to being attacked by other players, and if someone decided to attack them, well, this happens. This is a pretty obvious reference to Zelda, where in Ocarina of Time, if you decide to attack the chickens in a village, they go ballistic on you, swarm you, and start killing you, where you now see this Easter egg in many other games, and this is where you can find it in Guild Wars 2. In the number 4 spot we have the Martyr's Tomb's secret event. In the Hrathi hinterlands, there are the ruins of Holy Demetra. This location has seen a lot of conflict over the years, but the most notable thing about this place is how it holds the tomb of Saul Delesio, the founder of the White Mantle. The White Mantle are the religious fanatics who played a big part in the original Guild Wars as they worked for their unseen gods, the Mersat, where the Mersat used Saul Delesio as a puppet in order to gain control of the White Mantle in Kryda, where when they were done with him, they kidnapped him and dragged him north out of Kryda. But they pretended like Saul Delesio had died a martyr in the war between the Char and Kryda, giving the people of Kryda someone to feel pride in, while also preventing Saul from meddling in the Mersat's plans. In order for Saul to have died and become a martyr, they had to make a tomb, which is this one here. A White Mantle confessor by the name of Tinad the Faithful was put in place as the defender of Saul's tomb, but he had failed, where he is now a ghost and all the other ghosts around here have become enraged, where you can actually explore this place and defeat the ghost of Tinad the Faithful and calm the spirits. And in order to start this event, you actually have to interact with the world, where in a side room you can find a shattered statue of Dwayna. Kneeling before it will summon the emissary of Dwayna, where after talking to her and learning Tinad's name, you can quickly go to the open coffin in the main room and summon Tinad, where then you can fight him. This is just super cool that there's a hidden event where you need to use an emote in order to spawn an NPC that will let you summon a boss for you to fight. I love secrets like this in games. In the number 3 spot we have the Polymock Arena. Now this is a bit of a special one. For people who don't know what Polymock is, it's kind of the original Guild Wars take on Pokemon, where there are different Polymock pieces that resemble different creatures around the world of Tyria, and each piece has some different abilities, where you can then use your pieces to fight your opponents. It's a pretty fun minigame, but I personally have not spent a lot of time interacting with it yet. But another cool thing is that there are actually 3 different arenas that you will fight in depending on what region of the world you're fighting somebody in. One in the Tarnished Coast, one in the Far Shivered Peaks, and one in the Char Homelands. And with the development and release of Guild Wars 2, adding Polymock to the game was on the table, where you can find it referenced around the world, like how there are 2 minis fighting an Old Lion's Arch. But the bigger reference is the Polymock Arenas located in Rata Sum, where connected to it is an Asura gate that is currently under construction in the Polymock Atrium underneath the College of Statics. And with the gate being under construction, you cannot use it to get over to the arenas, but that doesn't mean you can't get there by other means, where with your mountain glider, you can make your way towards the arena and land on some spots that will allow you to look around this area from a distance. Unfortunately, there's an invisible wall that will prevent you from going any further. Back in the day, you could bug your way into this place and had a ton of fun running around here, but unfortunately, it looks like ArenaNet fixed it, and I haven't found another way to get over here. But I'll share Noxie's video about this place in the description if you want to check it out in more detail. Coming in at number 2 is another spot in Rata Sum, and that is the Rata Sum Prison. If you were trying to get over to the Polymock Arena and failed in getting there, you probably learned about this secret. The main security force of the Asuras in Rata Sum are known as the Peacemakers, and far below the College of Dynamics, you can find their headquarters, which includes a prison. There are a bunch of fun things down here like a cat you can get in your home instance, as well as several NPCs you can talk to. but what some people may not know is that you can actually end up in prison, or if you try to escape Rata Sum and get close to the surface of the world here, you will be teleported up to prison. This can actually be kind of tricky to do if you don't have a mount or a glider, but you basically just need to find an edge around Rata Sum and jump off of it, avoiding any bumps or outcroppings and sliding your way down and towards the land. Should you successfully get there without dying, you will be teleported to an empty prison cell and be locked in confinement. But you can still waypoint or teleport out, of course. This is just a super fun place in Rata Sum. I remember when Guild Wars 2 originally released, people would talk about this spot all the time. A lot of people like to hang out in this place, and I have a lot of good memories just chatting with people here. And now for the number 1 spot, for my favorite secret in all Guild Wars 2, and it has to go to the hidden turkeys and the Ascalonian Catacombs. This is another random thing that is just hidden away in the first dungeon of Guild Wars 2. The Ascalonian Catacombs, as I recently covered on my channel, are a bunch of winding tunnels and rooms located underneath the kingdom of Ascalon, which now in Guild Wars 2 houses a lot of ghosts and gravelings. In the explorable mode version of the dungeon, you can choose one of 3 paths that will take you through different areas of the dungeon. Should you select path 1, you will follow Hodgins as he recovers different human relics in order to defeat the final boss of the path. After you destroy a bunch of different graveling barrels, Hodgins will open up a secret room that you can climb up in and find a special scepter at the top of it, where upon getting the scepter, you can continue on with the dungeon. But if you take some time to explore this area, you can find a really cool secret room. By making a few turkey jumps, you can climb a little higher up, run along the wall here, and jump through the vines covering up a large hole in the wall, allowing you to enter a room that is filled with turkeys. Other than the stone walls, the plants, and the red ominous light present in this room, there's nothing special going on here. Just a bunch of turkeys in the middle of the Ascalonian Catacombs, in a spot you have no reason to go to that is actually kind of tricky to get to. They are just standing there, all staring at the same point in the wall. They don't attack you, they don't run away, they just stand there. Now if you want to know why they are really here, it is another dev's signature. Similar to the swinging boy we talked a bit about earlier, you can find a few different turkeys around the world of Tyria and areas that the dev worked on. But I just love this secret. It's hidden away in a cool way, it is a pretty cool spot in and of itself, and it is completely random. This is one of those cool things that people who take the time to explore the world of Tyria can find and enjoy. And that's my list. I hope you enjoyed. If this is your first time learning about any of these secrets, feel free to tell me down in the comments. Some of these are pretty common, but some of these are also not super well known. I'm planning on highlighting more Guild Wars 2 secrets soon, but these are just my favorites in the game. I hope you are taking good care of yourselves. Have a good one, everyone.